Hello, Nick. Bill Slag. It's all gone a bit mad last few days. I've had a load of really great positive messages and feedback regarding my contributions to the pod from all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Grinder, not Grinder. I don't even know what Grinder is. So, um, so would you believe that people have been sending me in questions, Nick? Um, so I thought, why not? I'll read out the questions and give my views on the pod, and hopefully your audience will find out a bit more about me. First question that was sent in, it says, how much do you think Achtung Millwall's audience would grow if you were the co-host? I mean, that's flattering, but it's not for me to say. Humility would say that I can't possibly comment. What I would say is, significantly, the numbers would be incredible. So why hasn't Nick asked me? You might ask. You might indeed ask. I can only think that at Nick's time of life, he really doesn't need the kind of exposure that I would bring. If I'm honest. Another question: is Neil Fizzler as dislikable in real life as he is on the pod? That's just offensive. That's just not right. You all sit indoors. You just expect this pod to pop up and listen to it. The preparation that I know Neil puts into this is incredible. And I've heard some of you say, I've seen it posted, and I'm going to say it. He keeps saying he's a journalist, a sports journalist, but he reports on rugby, so he's not really a proper sports journalist. I'm not having that. I'm not having it. Yes, he's an acquired taste, like the Met Police or Joe Brand. But let me tell you, if you met Neil in real life, after a while, you would find something about him that you'd like. So, lay off with the heavy questions. Another one here. Does Harry really know anything about football? So here you go again, having a go at my fellow contributors. Let me tell you something about Harry, yeah? Harry's got a badge. He's got a football badge, a badge for football. So when we're all sitting here thinking, there goes Harry talking a load of absolute bollocks again, you need to remember he's got an education in the game. He's studied the game. He's a student of the game. Yeah? So have a think about Harry and what you think of him. Think about his education. Don't be so quick to condemn. What's this next question? Are you pleased for Aaron Paul and his meteoric rise to national radio? It's a tough one, this one, really. I was going to leave this one out, but I'm just going to say it. Who'd actually heard of Aaron Paul before Achtung? I'm not saying that he cynically exploited Nick's platform to go on to what he thinks is bigger and better things. But let me tell you this. I would not behave in the same way. If TalkSport, 5 Live or GB News came calling on Twitter at 41 Henshaw Street, DMs open, I'd never forget where I came from. And we'll just leave that one there. I've got a load more questions here, but we just haven't got time to get through them all, mate. I just do want to say, I just want to go back to the start. The question about me co-hosting was tongue-in-cheek, so please don't go and pester Nick on Twitter at Achtung!Millwall and ask him why he hasn't asked me to co-host, because it was just a joke. At Achtung!Millwall. Okay, Nick. Thanks very much. See you soon. Cheers.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome one and all around the world. Welcome to the den this sunny afternoon. It's been a bit of everything today here in London. Bit of rain, bit of mild, bit of cold, bit of wet, everything, you name it. You come here of course for another huge fixture. They're all huge now. Just 8 games left after today's home game against Huddersfield Town. Lions are unchanged, dear listeners, from that midweek win. Gary Rowett sticking with the familiar Jules Long in goal. Backline, Murray Wallace, Charlie Cresswell, named by England under-21s incidentally. Congratulations to Charlie. Jake Cooper, Danny Mack across the back line. The defensive 2, Ryan Leonard played very well, I thought, midweek. George Saville, the attacking 3, Andreas Vogelsam, scorer of a goal on Tuesday. Zian Fleming, George Honeyman up front, also another international. Tom Bradshaw, a Welsh international, of course. We're at the business end of the season, dear listeners. Every game is huge, coming here to last. Well, today's the 9 games to go, 8 after this. Huddersfield wearing a lurid shade of fuchsia, kind of a very bright pink and white. I imagine it's some kind of bet of some sort from them. Lions, of course, in their dark blue and white. Lions come into this last fixture before next week's international break with a 4-point spread over 7th place Norwich City. Today's all about a win for me, dear listeners. The performances haven't been terribly good of late, but we've been winning. More of the same for me. It don't really matter how we do it. We're just going to get those crucial 3 points this afternoon. I did a little bit of checking for you listeners, because that's the way of my show. Just by way of contrast, the 2001-2 Lions, playoff team of course, were also 5th with 8 to go. They didn't hit a run of bad form though before actually making the playoffs. So we want a run of good form and then actually making the playoffs. But as I've said over and over and over, every game is now huge. As Richard Corley so aptly puts it, great article Richard, by the way, if you're listening, I'm sure you do. It's exciting, it's tantalising. It's also going to be just a little bit torturous. I think you make it right there, mate. Absolutely right. Lions lining up to kick us off, attacking the away end in accordance with the venerable Beach dictums from Jarrow Monastery in 8th century, 9th century possibly, Anglo-Saxon England. Huddersfield will be attacking the cold blow in the first half. We're ready to go. Referee just holding his moment. For some reason, maybe it's not bang on 3 o'clock or something, I don't know. Away we go. It's a lovely afternoon, cloudy. Well, it's kind of muggy. Warm. I've come dressed for the Antarctic, listeners, this afternoon. Zigzagging across London on the closed sections of every line you can think of. I've made it in time in the end though, so panic over. This is Huddersfield pressing forwards early doors. Inside the first minute. Managed, of course, by Neil Warnock, who apparently is some kind of national treasure. I've never quite seen it personally. Huge punt forwards. That's over the head of the defender there. Tom Bradshaw was through. Last man got it though, 32. Quite well defended in the event. The bounce of that flight of that ball completely beat the first man. Almost a little breakthrough for Tom Bradshaw. Roman Esse, I think, sits on the bench this afternoon, named in the England under-18 squad. Good news for Roman. Congratulations go out to the man. Of all these internationals, Jules Saville also named in the Northern Irish squad. I took it upon myself to have a quick look at the most capped players in a Millwall shirt. This is George Honeyman though, before I do it. On the left, he's found Murray Wallace overlapping. There's Vogelsam puts it over the bar from the cutback there. Should have done better. 4 minutes, first chance of the game. Vogie puts over the bar from a nice little cutback from on the left side by Murray Wallace. Yeah, so Millwall internationals, I'll do it in reverse order in the style of Mixed World, that politically incorrect competition that we used to watch as kids. Top 5 international caps in a Millwall shirt, listeners. I might let you ponder on that. I'll come back to you in a little bit. Huddersfield in 23rd position in the table, not having a terribly good season. Premier League side, not so long ago, I seem to remember. But times have taken a tumble there. This is a throw-in of a Millwall's going to be a Ryan Leonard long throw, listeners, on come till 6 minutes. Not quite 6 minutes as he takes it. Left-sided long throw. In it comes, near post towards Cresswell. It falls to Logie, can't quite bring it under control. We do keep possession. It's gone all the way back to Danny Mack. McNamara now, long diagonal ball. He finds Cresswell free on the left like a winger. Well, can he find a shot? He can. It's on target. Battered away by the goalkeeper. 6 minutes. 2 attempts now for Millwall. We've made a good start here, listeners. Yeah, so anyway, the Millwall internationals, most capped in a Millwall shirt. Number 5, famous Millwall name, legendary name. You'll love this name when you hear it, listeners. With 17 caps. John Daddy Böðvarsson for Iceland, scorer of 1 goal for the Icelandics in his period as a Millwall player. Played for them more, or started for them more than he seemed to for us. Now I think he's injured at the moment. I think he didn't move on to Bolton. Didn't he get injured? Did I read? I don't know. But yeah, John Daddy Böðvarsson, 17 caps for Iceland, 1 goal. Number 5. So number 4, international caps in a Millwall shirt. Stress only in a Millwall shirt. Mick McCarthy with 19 caps for the Republic of Ireland and 1 goal in his career. That'd be in the late 80s, early 90s. Mick McCarthy. I think he played in the 1990 Italia World Cup. Long ball over the top. Let's see how Channel 4 sophisticated I sound. I didn't say the Italian World Cup, I said Italia 90. I'm having Italian coffee at home. I actually had an almond biscuit before I came out to the game today because I decided to go a little bit higher brow for you. James Richardson styley. So yeah, Mick McCarthy in number 4. All this information I've gleaned from the millhistory.org website. Fantastic repository of knowledge. Do check it out. Number 3. Also another Irish stalwart, Eamon Dunphy. 22 caps for the Republic of Ireland. No goals I could find for Eamon Dunphy in his international career with us. This is now Tom Bradshaw. Nice little angle ball. Danny Mack's chasing it. He'll struggle to get it there. Nice idea, Tom Bradshaw. Nice feed through there. 9 minutes down the right channel. Number 2, top capped Millwall player ever. 24 caps for the Republic of Ireland. David Ford, goalkeeper, of course. Played 24 times for his country. Clearly no goals, you wouldn't expect that. Number 1, most caps Millwall international, whilst wearing the Millwall shirt anyway, was Shane Ferguson, 29 caps. I don't know if he's a current international with the Northern Irish. I don't think he is anymore. But Shane Ferguson played 29 times for Northern Ireland. He's our number 1 most capped international player whilst with us. This is a throw-in for Huddersfield over on the far left side. It's coming on to 10 minutes. Ball's gone for another throw-in over there. No, gone for a Millwall throw-in somehow. So anyway, we're going to release the pressure there. So anyway, a few noteworthy ones. I put a few by the ways here. Our most capped England player ever. Pre-war, pre-Second World War, J.R. Smith, played twice for England. Scored 2 goals for the English. I think they were home international fixtures. Not quite in the top 5. Jimmy Abdou played 16 times for the Comoros Islands. Until quite recently, I believe. Was he not in the a World Cup qualifier? Was it African Cup of Nations? I can't remember. I remember seeing his name on TV doing the rounds on the Millwall, the Millwall circuit. 16 caps for the Comoros Islands. Tony Cascarino played 15 times for Ireland. Score of 5 goals. I think he'd probably be not quite our most scored. Most scored? What kind of word is that? Highest scoring international. 15 times for Ireland, 5 goals. The most biggest goal scoring tally that would be Tim Cahill for Australia. 5 caps, but 6 goals for the Aussies in his Millwall career. Ball in. This is Tom Bradshaw. Gets his on the hoof. It's gone high off of his shin over the bar. Didn't quite get hold of that. 12 minutes. Good early pressure, Millwall. Yeah, all that info came from my own assessment of the Millwall History website, so I make no claims of accuracy or, if someone else has got more here and there, then right off to Apple Podcast and ask for your money back from this podcast. Or better still, right after your Tribute Limited and get no response at all. It's a bit of an in-joke for anyone who's ordered the memorial stone there, listeners. Apology if it's too obscure a joke, but those that get it will be rolling up, laughing their guts out. The satirical nature of the humour that's now appearing on this show. Incidentally, big thank you to Bill Slack for that satirical intro to today's match. I think he's captured something there, Bill. Not sure what he's captured, but if you are interested in hiring Bill as a stand-up comic for your bar mitzvah, birthday party, kid's birthday party, particularly good at, do get in touch. I am acting as his impromptu agent at the moment. Give us a shout. Yeah, so I was forced out at Canada Water. I had to get the Jubilee line by back and forthing like a madman, and walked across from there. The old Surrey Quay shopping centre, listeners, is like one huge building site at the moment. God knows what they're doing now. I imagine packs and packs of bog standard flats are going to go up there. Everything that I knew that was familiar about the old shopping centre seems to be being dug up and turned into a building site. It's quite a strange experience walking across the car park there. I think they call it transforming the area or something like that. It's an aberration, whatever they're going to do with it, I imagine. We'll just struggling to prise open this not terribly good, but certainly packed Huddersfield defence at the moment. There's a little run forwards there. That was Cresswell trying to find Honeyman. We do retain possession. Is Saville. Is Fleming. It's going to be an afternoon of guile and skill, I think. Once it does fall open, it will collapse, I think. But the longer it goes on, obviously, the better they're going to feel about themselves. 17 minutes in. It's going to be a Millwall long throw on the right side this time. Ryan Leonard to take. In it comes, near kind of post long throw. Ryan Leonard is backed and forwards to Jules Saville. He's found Cresswell trying to take and turn. He does take and turn inside the box. Back to Bradshaw. Volley from Vogelsammer. Ball is still live. It's another punt from distance. Jules Saville put it wide left. 17 minutes. Yeah, apparently that 2-1 victory against Swansea was only the second time this season we've recorded back-to-back successes. Coming towards 21 minutes, bit of a break in play at the moment, but 21 minutes when we restart, which we're about to. It's been primarily Millwall, to be honest with you listeners, so far. We would expect to have taken at least one of the chances we've had. The longer it goes at 0-0, the more frustrating this game will become, so it'd be nice to see a goal soon. 21 and a half minutes. The den looks reasonably full. There's a few seats knocking around over here in Block 1. You can see them around the edges of the main stands, but not many. I'm expecting this to be, 13,000, 14,000. I can't see how many Huddersfield have made a trip down. I wouldn't have thought terribly large amounts, given their league status. This is Vogel, midfield. Little 1-2. This is Vogelsammer on the edge of the penalty area. Shot just inches wide from the D. Wide left. Daisy cutter just a few inches wide of the left post. Best chance of the half, really. 30 minutes now on the clock. Break forward now. This is Cresswell making a little run forward. We've seen that a few times in this half. Saville now spreads it wide to Murray Wallace. Coming towards the 32nd minute. Cresswell's on the inside now. Will he have a go? He will. Over the bar. Nice attempt. Nice attempt. Playing with a bit of confidence now. Charlie Cresswell, that's naming in the England squad, clearly giving him the confidence to take on runs and try and create a little bit coming forwards. 32 minutes now. Well, so far Huddersfield will feel that they are doing everything they want really, which is to cling on for grim death for a point and maybe try and get in the dreamland of nicking a goal at some point. We're struggling to break them down a little bit so far, listeners. You do get a sense we just need the one break to get ahead. And that'll take a lot of pressure off around the den. The crowd, I think, also going to get frustrated the longer it remains at 0-0. There's a little bit of skill there by Charlie Cresswell, a real fan favourite. Don't fall in love with your lone players, listeners. They tend to go back. This is now Murray Wallace on the left side. He's broken inside. There's a great tackle there by Murray. There's Zian on the left side of the penalty area. It's dispossessed, unfortunately. 38 minutes. Matthew Pearson, Huddersfield yellow card. I'll get the app, the Millwall app. I don't know if you're on that, listeners. They put little notifications on your phone now, so you get your team news bumped straight through to your iPhone. I never knew they did this, and I was only reading. I think it was Phil Clark put it on Twitter the other day that you could get this, and all you need to do is go into your app settings for this particular Millwall app and just say yes to notifications. It's wonderful. It's like being in 2023 suddenly. Anyway, I think we're good to go again. 41 minutes. This is now Danny Mack, another floating cross in. There's Fleming, lovely overhead kick. It falls into the path of Murray Wallace. He can't quite get his boot behind it. A little moment of a chance inside the 6-yard box there, but it fell to probably the one man you didn't want it to fall to. There was an overhead kick in there as well from Tom Bradshaw. Another opportunity for Millwall. It's not been taken. I think it's going to go down into the account book as a solid challenge on George Honeyman over there. The crowd in uproar on the far side. Don't like that one. Referee's not given anything for it. We can do without more injuries. I think we're just about approaching a point where Callum Styles apart. We're getting a fully healthy squad nearly coming out of the international break. But that looked like a very, very solid challenge there. There was a break there with the 10 almost broke through there. Jake forced off the ball at the last. It does run through to Jules Long, thankfully. I think there was a penalty shout in there as well. But anyway, none of that being given. This is now Millwall on the attack. Vogel on the left side. We're 2 minutes into the 4 of added time. Will he have a go? He will from distance. It's on target and low. Back to the way by the goalkeeper quite nicely. It's now Jill Saville on the left side to Murray Wallace. I imagine another little cross in. He finds Vogel Samo. He almost tries to flick it into the near post. It does hit a pink leg, unfortunately. They're all keeping possession well late in the half now. 1 minute of added time to go. This is now Murray Wallace on the left side. A little bit of late pressure. He does nicely to jink past his man there, but can't quite find the pass. Ryan Leonard halfway. This is going to be Zian from distance. On target, the goalkeeper gets down nicely enough to take it. No, not really enough power on there to trouble him. It was also fairly central, that shot, into the last minute of added time. Oh my giddy aunt, there's a moment there where Cresswell trying to combine with Long, and both of them seem to be leaving the ball for an awfully long second there, listeners. Anyway, it does get brought away. We're coming down to the last few seconds of the first half. There's a little bit of psychic vampirism going on out there, I think, at the moment. Anyone that listens to my midweek show will know what that means. There is 0-0. It's not really a booing performance. It's been a frustrating game so far. Lions have dominated, but we've created chances, just haven't taken any. Perhaps the story of the season so far. So at the break, it's Millwall 0, Huddersfield Town 0.
Achtung, Millwall.
Teams coming out for the second half, dear listeners. Selection of posts from the Twitter at half-time. Andy Rothery says Essay, Roman Essay will run rings around this lot, calls for pace. Generally, Dan Walls calling for Burkon for the German, for Vogelsammer. Needs some pace, he says. Chris Chaps, shout out to Chris. Their right back has been booked, get some pace on Millwall. And so it goes on. I think general consensus is that we're looking a little bit leggy, a little bit tired, but we need to find one goal, and maybe after that the floodgates will open. All we don't want to do is concede like we nearly did at the end of the first half. Message from Doug in Stockholm watching it. Apparently that was a decent shout for a penalty against Danny Mack there. So we've got to stay focused, keep calm, keep our composure, dear listeners. Just waiting for the pink fuchsia-clad Huddersfield to kick us off in the second half. They're going to be attacking their way in. Mill, of course, going towards the Coldblow Lane end as per old Beady boy. Referee taking an eternity to get the game started. He seems to be staring at his watch. Away we go. It's these lapses in concentration. I mean, maybe the squad is tired. A lot of football been played of late. Not much of a break. Midweek football. grind of games, you know. Maybe it just plays on your concentration a little bit. We've got to stay switched on here. It's nice to see Charlie Cresswell coming forwards more. Little ball inside to find Zian Fleming. Halfway across the Huddersfield half at the moment, listeners. We're on 40, comes towards 47 minutes. One of these little runs forward. Maybe we've been given instructions to try and press forward somewhat. Get those central defenders into the mix where they're least expected. I don't know. Yeah, there's going to be a long throw from the left side. I'm trying to second guess the mind of Gary Rowett. In it comes. It's towards bouncing around the melee and hooked clear by a fuchsia boot. I would expect there to be some changes made early on because more of the same as we saw in the first half. We just looked a little bit unimaginative at times. I've got to agree with the consensus online. There's some pace, confidence maybe of it. I don't know. What more? Nice taken turn. This is Fleming. Balls into Bradshaw. He's trying to find Honeyman. That's hooked clear. This is Honeyman, gets clips in the middle. That's going to be a free kick. Cynical foul there. It's going to be a long range shot opportunity here. Will be a long one as well. It's about 40 yards out, 35 yards out, that kind of zone. Zian standing over the ball. Three-man wall in front of him. His shot that's gone into orbit, listeners. It's hit the Husky sign across the Coldblow Lane end. Poor ball. Poor shot. It was a nice half-time parade of a flag that's from the family of Private Leo Callaghan. Well-known Millwall family. They did like a parade around the side of the pitch. I think I saw online that there was a flag that's been produced commemorating him, and he obviously lost his life fighting in Afghanistan. So well done to them. I think Lee Evans online, I think, was helped organise the collection to produce the flag. Well done, Lee. This is Jake Cooper. Ticking towards the 53rd minute. The Cresswell now, we're going backwards at the moment. Compared with Franz Beckenbauer by Matt Richards on our WhatsApp group at half-time. Some of the runs, there's long ball forwards. That's inside from Vogie trying to find Tom Bradshaw. Was just in front of him, unfortunately. He's gone through to the goalkeeper. 53 minutes. I watched a biopic of Franz Beckenbauer's life story. I think it was a very, very sanitised version. It was in German and so subtitled. On Netflix, I think it was at Netflix, or it might have been Amazon Prime, I can't remember. But anyway, it's the story of Franz Beckenbauer's life. Let's just say it does. I think it might have been written by him. I think it glosses over all the bad stuff and ups the good stuff. Even then, he comes over as a bit of an arrogant, self-centered person. So I'm not sure I'll recommend it as a viewing. It was interesting to watch it. I'm not sure we learned an awful lot from it. I think it was called Der Kaiser, unimaginatively called Der Kaiser, I think. We have to check that. But don't bother, it ain't worth watching. I don't know what I'm going on about it. 55 minutes, listeners. The Den starting to rally this Millwall side. One goal will do us. Shackleton warming up, Watmore warming up, Burt warming up. Duncan Watmore. Jill Saville on the right side, that was inside to Danny Mack, who fell over. Zian Fleming would have a go, he will. It's a rising shot again. He's been disappointing with his shooting this afternoon, got to be said. Over the bar. Nearly 64 minutes, listeners. Great work there by Ryan Leonard, closing down the middle, winning the ball back. 66 minutes, just halfway inside the Huddersfield half. He's trying to find Tom Bradshaw. Breaks. This is Murray Wallace. He gets clipped on the edge of the penalty area. Surely no, referee gives nothing now. I don't think that was a penalty. I think it would have been a free kick. Should have been a free kick. Anyway, here we go again. This is Watmore now, midfield. Just running into a wall of pink shirts, listeners. This is Huddersfield now on the right side. We don't want to concede. Ball across the box. Danny Mack, body swerves. Nerves of steel, Dan. We do concede possession, unfortunately. This is Huddersfield now into the near post. There, 1-0 Huddersfield. Near post ball. 25. Sloppy goal, 67 minutes. That was the chance they were looking for. Ball, I think Danny probably was over ambitious there. He was under pressure, lost possession on the left side, ball into the near post, clipped, and between Long and Cooper, it's gone into the net. 1-0 to Huddersfield. We've all been bogged down the whole game, really. We've not really sparked. As some have said, it's not really our kind of game where we're trying to press forwards rather than soaking up the pressure, but still very frustrating. This is a poor team. We should be ahead here. 70 minutes on the stadium clock. Looks like it's going to be Roman Esse to come in. Listeners, he's ready to go over in the substitution area. Chance for Burke to break now, going down the right side. Cuts inside as a shot across the face of the goal in front of Bradshaw. I don't know if that was a shot or a cross in truth. Should have done better there. 75 minutes nearly. Roman Esse is going to come in now. Jules Saville to come out. Huddersfield doing a very good job of frustrating us this afternoon. Listeners, 79.5 minutes. Now we start to get injuries and cramps and God knows what. Jake Cooper, Esse on the left side now, about halfway inside the Huddersfield half. Ball in from the left side, that's into a defender unfortunately and hooked away. This is now Jake Cooper, this is now Ryan Leonard. Oh! Shot wide by Ryan Leonard. Took a deflection there, listeners. That's gone for a left-sided corner. Thought that was swerving in at one point. It's going to be Esse to take the ball, take the corner. And good applause over there from the Millwall fans. Ticking towards 81 minutes now. It's a deep one. Bouncing around the melee. There's a player gone flying. Nothing doing from the referees, given nothing this afternoon. Someone just posted on Twitter, are you even Millwall if you didn't see this defeat coming? There's still 7 minutes and added to go, so it's not quite there yet, but I do know what that person means. That unnamed poster, whoever that poster is. Cresswell into Esse with space. Shackleton pulls it back, it's floated across, it falls to Zian, couldn't quite get any control on the ball. We do keep possession, it's been pretty much relentless pressure these last few minutes from Millwall. Esse's taken his man on. Jinks past him, shot across the ball, across the face of the goal. Beautiful cross, beautiful jinking run. No one there to touch it in, listeners. 88 minutes. Performance of the day, I suppose. I'm going to give it to Charlie Cresswell. He's looked a lot more confident on the ball. He's made 1 or 2 runs forward. It's quite hard in a poor performance overall, really, because that's what it's been. If you don't take a team in their position, it's clearly a poor side. If you don't make them pay for their inabilities or their shortcomings, if we don't make them pay, which we haven't, then we don't deserve to get anything from the game. And that's really turns it into a poor performance by Millwall, in my opinion. No want of effort, but just poor focus. It's gone for a throw-in on the left. This will be last 30 seconds now. This will be last chance saloon time. It's Malone now on the left. What can he do? Takes and turns, it's into the middle, across the face of the goal. What more? On the right side of the Mill penalty area, of the Huddersfield penalty area, lofted in by Zian Fleming. It's bouncing around. This is Malone now. It's been pressure, but no end result. And there's the final whistle, as you'll have gathered. Mill 0, Huddersfield 1. Old Led Zeppelin song, no one's fault but ours, nobody's fault but mine. Poor performance, I think I probably said it all already during the course of the proceedings. Mill 0, Huddersfield 1. We do stay in the playoff zone, but depending on other results, that was a poor performance and poor result. Oh mate, I could see that coming from a long way off, Aaron.
Yeah, that was disappointing, wasn't it, Uncle Nick?
Very, I thought we looked tired.
Yeah, tired. I mean, George just mentioned that tired, but why don't you change it from the start? Or mix things up, try and do something different.
Some pace. We did look a bit more dangerous, but I mean, I think we could have played for a month of Sundays there and not done anything.
Oh, Uncle Nick, that was bland AF. Toothless. That was like the quality of your meat dishes before you met Mrs. Hart. Bland. Disappointed.
Get a few words for the listeners from Ryan Loftus.
Well, I don't understand what Ollie Burke Ollie Burke needs to do a lot more things, but why Ollie Burke or Watmore can't get a start?
No, you're a big Vogelshammer fan though, Ryan.
You know, Christ. I mean, that's what it comes down to. That chance in the first half, that he should have buried all day long. Should have scored it. I've always said it for long enough. He's not good enough. I don't understand how he starts week in, week out.
Because there's no one else.
You got Watmore, you got Esse, and you got Burke. You got three options who could easily play instead of him. He is rubbish. He's not good enough.
We don't break teams down. I mean, what you can
we don't have the quality.
to do that. I mean, Fleming's not been looking great last week.
He looks knackered.
Yeah.
He looks
two weeks off will be good for Fleming.
Yeah, but do you know what? Tom Bradshaw's been called up for Wales, isn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. So
Oh,
no break for
this
Tom.
is worrying, man.
It is. What worries me is that it's the classic Millwall thing of that we don't do well against the teams we're expected to beat, right?
No.
A lot of the teams now running are down the bottom end of the table, look like games that should be winnable. If we play like that against Huddersfield, that's concerning. We need to figure out a way to break down teams like
Huddersfield are rubbish.
They are all
They were very
rubbish.
poor.
They were terrible.
And they were looking for what they got, which is one chance, one error, one lapse of concentration. They scored it, and that's what they got.
Genuinely, they are. It's just.
But we were a team built to soak pressure up,
Yeah.
and then hit them on the break. We weren't going to get that today, were we?
What was disappointing about it is the manner of the way the goal was scored as well. There were two men down there. Jackson manages to get a ball into the near post.
There was a few lapses.
Just fucking around with it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like McNamara, fair enough, we're trying to play out a bit more and we're on top. Rather than just getting rid, he tries to play a pass up the line and the under pressure immediately.
Few lapses in concentration. I think it's just tiredness. I think the break has come at a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
Gentlemen, it's always good to speak to broadcasting legends like yourselves.
Cheers, Uncle Nick.
Hello?
Hi Nick, John Rankin here. After that very depressing 0-1 defeat by Huddersfield, that's a tough one to take. But I have to say, Neil Warnock setting them up very negatively, and they got the job done. Talk a little bit about Huddersfield, right? I was sitting in Cold Blow Leyland as usual. At one point I counted 6 across the back and 4 across the CDM position. So it was just a sea of bodies. It was almost impossible for us to create chances with what we got, I'm afraid. And I do think if you've got to point the finger, you do have to point it a little bit at Gary Rowett, because he should have known that Warnock would set them up in a way to nullify Cooper and Cresswell in attack, and that's what they did. They had 2 big central defenders, and our set piece was basically non-existent. You know, we score most of our goals from set pieces, and our set piece head down and getting it in the box was just non-existent. We relied too heavily on Tom Bradshaw. He didn't have the greatest of games, and it shows. Zian Fleming didn't have a great day. Now's the time he really has to show himself. You know, come off the hour, come off the man. And he was a little bit wasteful, I thought, with his shot taking and his free kicks. Ryan Leonard played well for us. I thought Charlie Cresswell and Jake Cooper were good, bringing the ball out. But my main observation is that I think the wrong team started there. Duncan Watmore looked very, very good when he came on, and what he was doing was tracking back, picking the ball up deep, and then running at players. Roman Esse nearly set a goal up for Tom Bradshaw in the Cold Blow Lane end in about the 85th minute, and I've got to say, on another day, Bradshaw would have made that. He looks very much off the pace. So, at the moment, I would say our race is run on that performance, and, you know, I think the players and the manager have got to make a decision now. Are they going to let that sort of shit happen again? Because that was an obvious tactical way to play against us. Nick a goal on the break. So I think the international break is welcome. I think Rout's got to look at the players he's got. He's got to have a bit more creativity up front. And I think it's really time for the players and the manager, as I say, to make a decision and decide whether they're going to make the playoffs. We're hanging on to 6th place at the skin of our teeth. And, it's a new mini-season after the international break. So, come on, you Lions.
Hi, Nick. It's Angelo here, mate. Don't know really what to say, mate. Just gutted about today. Thinking about the game now, it was the amount of chances we had in the first half, and that's what killed us. We've got to put one or two of them away. Vogie's one has to get out on target. Murray Wallace had a good chance. Fleming, normally composed, would normally just bend that in the corner. He put it wide. There was numerous chances there, and then poor clearance by Danny Mack for their goal, and poor marking in the box. So the only saving grace is we're still in the playoffs. We're 3 points ahead of Norwich, but Warnock's not done anything special. We've just literally gifted him the points by missing all them chances, and they've done a smash and grab. I think it's time for Rowett to have the balls to start SA. The guy, every time I see him, he's got that little bit something special, that little run with that cross where Bradshaw couldn't reach it. He's fired it into along the 6-yard box. It's just quality. Watmore looked lively. Burke, just what a waste of a sub. He just didn't do anything, did he? But Watmore and SA really did impress. SA has to come in for Vogie. I really believe that, honestly. We need a bit more oomph up top, and Vogie's just not doing it for me. And I would like to give the young guy a chance. And at first I thought, yes, let's just save him for next season, but I'd bring him in now. But anyway, disappointing. The saving graces were still in there, so trying to keep positive, but let's hope. We've got 2 tough games, obviously, we will come back. We've got West Brom and then Luton, so let's hope that they have a good break, and we come back these last 8 games, we give it our all. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Come on, you Lions.
Walking out the ground now, tactically inept, woeful, run out of ideas, clueless. If you look up Millwall in the thesaurus, there'll be a lot of negative words after that performance. Blimey O'Reilly, that was bad. Do you know what? The first half, I said 10, 15, 20 minutes in, I said if we don't beat these 3, 4, 5-0, then there's a real problem, because they were bad. Huddersfield are a bad team. Normally you can sort of see what teams are trying to do or that kind of thing, but the fact that for 15 minutes they barely touched the ball and didn't even do anything with it, and we've ended up losing that game overall is inexcusable. Tactically wrong, players not knowing what to do, players not committing to the ball. I mean, there was a couple of times balls were played between sort of Creswell, the back line, Cooper and McNamara, and they were just stood still. They just didn't do anything. They didn't run for the ball. They were waiting for the other person to get it. You might as well not play Saville and Leonard if you're going to keep playing it wide, or you're going to keep launching it forward. You might as well not have a midfield. And the last 7 to 10 minutes just summed it up, because all it was just ball back to the goalkeeper, launch forward, ball back to the goalkeeper, launch forward, ball back to the goalkeeper, launch forward. What was it, Einstein, a definition of insanity? He's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Just bad game today at Millwall. And this is the second game now after Swansea where I'm concerned that if a team doesn't attack us and we catch them on the counter, we don't know how to play against them. Swansea were a bad team, don't get me wrong. They sat back, they moved the ball around a little bit, they sat back, and we didn't know what to do against them. We had a clumsy goal scored and a lucky goal by Vogelsama who had the goalkeeping error that led to the goal. Today, Huddersfield sat back, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to break them down. And when you're playing like that against teams who are in the bottom half of the table and all you've got in 180 minutes is 2 lucky goals, there's a serious concern. We can't rely on only turning up when we play the better teams. That's not how you do well in football. Because when you play against teams like Huddersfield and they do a double over you, it's just bad. I can't keep saying enough just how bad a game it was. We need to sharpen up, because now that little cushion between us in 6th or 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th is now gone. Really, it's one win, because if either of those two teams win and we don't win, or if we get a negative result compared to those, they've got a lot better goal difference than us. And we're at the business end of the season now. It'd be so disappointing to do this well for so long and throw it away the way we did today against Huddersfield. The break's come at the right time. We need to pick ourselves up before West Brom away. Come on, your lines.
Hello, Nick. Graham Payne here. Just my thoughts of yesterday's game. Started off first half, I thought we started off okay. I think if Vogie puts that sitter away from 6 yards, I think we'd have got on and won the game comfortably. But he didn't take the chance, and we had a couple of other chances. Bradshaw, I think, and some shots from long range. And Cresswell was doing well, bringing the ball out of defence. I like that. And I thought, when we went in at half-time, I said I thought it was just a case of, we'll get a couple of goals in the second half, win the game. Second half, we huffed and puffed, and I don't think their goalkeeper really had to make a save in the second half. And then obviously they get the goal, and I mean he made some changes, but there was no real clear-cut chances that we missed. I thought Watmore looked promising, and as did Essie. I thought Essie had come on and did quite well as well. But I think at the end of the day, if we're honest, we haven't been playing that well the last few games, and we've got some wins, and notably Reading and even Swansea in the week. So I don't know whether they're tired and just need a break, but hopefully this 2-week break will do them good. I think it's unfortunate, as I said in the pod in the week, that Bradshaw and even Saville are going to go away during this break. It would have been good to see them rested before we go to West Brom. But as I say, hopefully we can get this break and come back fully refreshed. Because I think the next two, West Brom away and then Luton at home, will have a big bearing on where we're going to end up. But, let's not be too down. Unfortunately, it's typical Millwall, as they say. We lose at home to the bottom of the league side. But let's come back after the international break, refreshed and ready to go at West Brom. Come on, your lines.
Hi, Nick. It's Matt Richards here. Just calling back, just driving back after that. Absolutely gutting. Just can't believe it, really. We just absolutely dominated them, and we just sucker punch them scoring. You can kind of see it happening, can't you? You've been watching the game for so long. You can kind of guess what's going to happen. Absolutely dominated the whole game, and we leave them spare at the back, and they get one chance and they score, and that's it, and it's game over. It's just absolutely gutted that. 3 points was so vital today. That would have given us a bit of a cushion between us and Norwich. Watford, Coventry won today. Thank God Watford and Norwich drew. But I don't know. I don't think we played terrible. I don't think Huddersfield were a great side. Obviously they sat back and we had loads of shots, but our finishing was just poor. We never really created many clear-cut chances. A lot of shots we had was kind of outside the box or half chances. Comes back to the same problem, we've been having, for a few seasons, never mind this season, but it's just that, just having that creative. We've got creative players now, and you can see players trying, Fleming, Vogelsammer and Watmore when they come on, they're trying passes, and SA, it's just not coming off. We just haven't got the quality. I think that's it. And we've got no different options up front either, apart from Bradshaw. So, I don't really want to dig out players because I thought they were trying. I didn't see any lack of effort, lack of quality. A few missed passes here or bad decisions there, and I think that's what cost us. I think first half, I think we could have done a bit more. I thought we were sitting back a bit too much, and it's only really when Cresswell started running towards their box, they started to put them under pressure. It panics them when you've got centre half coming towards you. It's going to panic them. Maybe we should have done a bit more of that in the first half. I think if we'd gone 1-0 up with Vogelsammer missing that easy chance, then their heads would have dropped. But you get to 0-0. Then the 20 minutes into the second half, they start thinking they're going to do it, and you got a Warnock team will not back down. I must say that the referee was absolutely fucking atrocious. No like kind of major decisions, but virtually every decision was just nothing was going for us. When just before they scored, Wallace, when he was running through, and I'm sure he got fouled, or it looked like a foul to me, whether it was a free kick or it's just on the edge of the box. 2 minutes later, they go and score. And it was just timeless times. Again, I almost get fed up about slagging off referees, but today he was just absolutely awful. And you can't blame referees, I know, because we still should win, but it all makes a difference. Oh God! Anyway, I could just moan forever, so I won't do that. But we've got to regroup now. I suppose if you play devil's advocate, 6 points from the last 3 games, you probably would have taken that if we'd lost at Reading. But the fact that we've won those 2 and results went our way again today, 6 points between us and the pack would have been amazing. But that's just not the way it's happened. So anyway, international break now. We've got to stay positive as a club, players, fans. But we've got massive games coming up against West Brom and Luton. Those games now do define our season, I think. I know we keep saying it every match, but they really do. Good results there, and I think we've still got a really good chance. So let's be positive. It's 45 minutes after the end of the game, so I'm trying to be positive, but it's difficult to be after that. But we'll be positive. So come on, you Lions.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. Just commenting on yesterday's game. Obviously not the result any of us were wanting or expecting, really, but I suppose being a Millwall supporter for so long, it was always going to happen, and we just have to swallow these things. I think you can't fault the players' lack of effort. I think there was sometimes a lack of quality in the final third, but we had enough chances. I think we had enough opportunities to get something out of the game. Huddersfield didn't offer much, but what they did offer was a good backbone, and they worked hard and probably got their reward for doing to us what we've done to a lot of teams this season. And as disappointing as it is, I think other results have not killed us, but they've kept us in a position that hopefully we'll manage to stay in for the rest of the season. I think teams like Huddersfield, Wigan, Hull, and some of the others, Blackpool probably, when they sit back against us, we don't seem to have the guile, the necessary quality that's going to undo them. I think the one time we had this season was when Styles played in the centre of the park, and he added something slightly different to what we would normally put in there. Unfortunately, he wasn't available yesterday, so I think unfortunately we didn't have that little bit of craft and somebody to undo the key or undo the lock to get us into positions. I didn't think anybody played badly yesterday, but I don't think anybody stood out either. Long kept us in the game a couple of times with some good saves, and the amount of times we pushed forward, I think Cresswell and Cooper both went forward and forward and forward, and I think they got so far forward they really sort of run out of ideas of what to do. So I'm struggling to be critical of anybody yesterday. I think it was just one of those games that we could have still been playing now and probably not got the ball in the net. SA looked nice and bright when he came on, and possibly if he'd have come on earlier, half-time, we might have got something more out of it. But I thought first half we sort of missed the opportunity with Vogie early on, and after that we were sort of pushing, but not quite getting the little bit of luck probably that we've had recently. And it's games like this that don't define the season, but it sort of brings everything back to reality, and it just shows that when we are playing against what considered to be the lesser sides, I think we've got to just have something slightly different. We don't have the strikers to bring on that's going to make any difference. So I think we've got to go with the squad we've got. I thought out of yesterday's game, I thought Cresswell played very well. I thought Leonard did really well. And Honeyman in the first half was all over the place and probably looked the most likely to create something. But as always, we go into the break. This time, I think we go into the break a little bit sort of nulled and disappointed. But we've got that little cushion still. And when we get back, West Brom and Luton, 2 big games for us that may possibly define the rest of our season. But we've still got 8 games to play. And how great that we're still in this position where we're masters of our own destiny, I suppose. And, you know, if we can turn over some of these poorer teams, then 3 or 4 wins, and I think we'll be right in there. So, not as bleak as it could be. Disappointing yesterday, obviously, but some of the games we've won recently, we got away with it. Yesterday, Huddersfield got away with it. So, good luck to all the Millwall boys that are on international duty. And we'll see where we go after the break. Come on, you Lions.
Well, good morning. From the morning after the day / night before, Harry Warren calling in after that 1-0 defeat to Neil Warnock's Huddersfield Town. Yeah, that's slightly dampened the mood, hasn't it? I thought that we started the game quite brightly. I thought in the first half we looked threatening without creating too much. When Charlie Creswell and Jake Cooper are turning into ball-playing centre-backs, running 30, 40 yards with the ball unchallenged, it's probably a sign that the team that that Huddersfield had come for the point, and looked terrible in the first half. But we seem to slip to their level, if I'm honest. And one mistake, because we didn't take our chances, one mistake from us led to their goal. I don't want to dig individual players out, and I'm not going to sit here and dig Gary Rowett out, but perhaps, with the benefit of hindsight, at half-time, maybe we make a tactical tweak, get Honeyman and Fleming together in the midfield in the central areas, and, you know, maybe substitute Saville or Leonard at half-time and bring a little bit of invention in that way and bring width with Eze on to run at them, rather than Oliver Burke, who I'm no fan of, as you all know. But, you know, we've lost 1-0. We've got to take stock. There's no need to panic. We've got 2 massively hard games coming up in West Brom away and Luton at home. I think we need to, you know, we've got to be realistic. I think our thing now is to basically beat Norwich's results and hang on to 6th. I don't think we can look up anymore, if I'm being honest. I think that's gone, because no one else is dropping points. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it was a poor performance yesterday. They happen, but we can't have too many of them. But it is the most Millwall results to get beaten by the team at the bottom of the table when you're chasing promotion. But then again, we seem to rise to the occasions of the harder teams and fall to the levels of the teams that are easier to beat. But that's a very Millwall trait, as we all know. But onward to the international break. I think we all deserve some time off, players included, but the supporters as well. The away support recently has grown and has been fantastic. I thought we were flat yesterday because I think we expected us to just win, if I'm being honest, but it happens. But yeah, everyone take a break, and I'll see you at the All Forms on the 1st of April. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge thank you to all of the chaps who've contributed to the show today. If you want to be a contributor to the Achtung Millwall, and why wouldn't you, dear listeners, give me a shout on Twitter. You can direct message me on Achtung at AchtungMillwall. You can email me AchtungMillwall@gmail.com, and we'll exchange mobile phone numbers, and you can WhatsApp me your voicemails. It's always good to get a wide range of views and opinions. I think the consensus on yesterday's game is pretty uniform, that we should have done a lot better, and it was very disappointing afternoon. I found the whole afternoon a funny old day, listeners. From the moment I left my front door, it was one of those days where, like was the song, the weather don't suit my clothes. Everybody's talking to me. The weather don't suit my clothes. It was a shiftless afternoon. I struggled to get over to the Den in time for kick-off. The tube was up the creek. The overground was shut. South Bermondsey was shut. You name it. Everything was a problem. And in a very similar vein, I thought the game, in a funny kind of way, in a karmic way, can I say that on this show, listeners? In a karmic way, reflected the toing and froing, the ups and downs of Transport for London's attempts to frustrate my trip across the river to get to South Bermondsey for the game. So all in all, it was a very, very frustrating afternoon. I think the consensus of all the voicemails, I picked out a selection of tweets, but I became aware at a certain point that we're all saying the same things over and over, and that fundamentally is that we struggle to break down defensively minded teams. We can't break them down for toffee, dear listeners, but we can play very well in big situations against decent sides where we sit back and soak pressure up and hit them on the break, and that's the way it is. That's how Gary Rowett has set us up. We remain in 6th spot. I just had a quick look at the YouTube footage today. I think the goal has been said a few times. Shan't repeat the same thing, but defensive lapses allowed Huddersfield to nick that goal yesterday. That's all I'm going to say on it. But we do remain in 6th spot at the end of a day where other results didn't go badly for us. Norwich 7th position on 57 points. Millwall remain in 6th spot on 60. They got a better goal difference than us, so we do need to build on that cushion. Next up, of course, on April 1st, April Fool's Day. What a day to have this. We do have the trip to West Bromwich Albion. I've got my ticket. Got yours, listeners? Got mine. And we've got the pantomime villain in Jed Wallace up there. I'm hoping that will suit the way that our side set themselves up. So there are still reasons to be cheerful from the season. Yesterday's left everyone feeling a bit flat, I think. I think even Gary Rowett in his post-match comments was feeling a bit of this deflated sense. He said, when do we normally have 70% possession? It almost sounds like I'm picturing this voice in a kind of slightly alcoholically influenced, 11 o'clock at night when you've been in the pub for the evening. When do we normally have 70% possession, says Gary Rowett, speaking to 94.9 BBC London, which is probably Aaron yesterday. I think we've had nearly 20 shots and they've had 4. Glug. The disappointment to me is not the way the game went. Glug. It's when that type of game, in that type of game, you can't make a poor mistake. Mistake, I think he probably would have said. And we left their player unmarked in the 6-yard box. Glug. To lose with just that one moment when we switch off, that's always a danger in those games where you have so much of the ball. Glug. We're going to have we're going to be a little bit disappointed going into the international break, but I don't think that can overshadow where we are and what we've done so far. I think that's right. I'm taking the piss, as is our want on the show. But to be in 6th position with 8 games to go is a massive achievement. The challenge from here is, can we maintain that position? Honest answer to your listeners, there's no reason why we can't get a result at West Brom, because we've done similar things over the course of this season. I'm hoping the international break does recharge and replenish the reserves of the side. I do agree with one or two of the contributors that maybe it's a time for a gamble in terms of playing, say, perhaps SA, perhaps Watmore, starting players, even Burke, starting players with pace that are going to get at the opponents. We'll see. Gary Rowett is not a gambling man. He's not the star of a Kenny Rogers country song, is he, listeners? He's a much more cautious man, but I'm sure there's a country song in the idea of the cautious man driven into a corner who then takes a gamble and plays the youngsters, plays some of the talent. SA looks like a talent, and maybe now's the time, as I think John said in his message earlier on. So there we are, dear listeners. We're going to be back next Friday. I think Neil and I are planning another history show for the international break. I hope you enjoy those shows. Do have a listen to the one we did yesterday. Otherwise, on a fairly flat, fairly depressing day. Let's not be flat, let's not be depressed, dear listeners. Let's look upwards and onwards onto West Brom. The playoffs are still within grasp, but they're still within touching distance. We've got to go for it. Let's get behind the Lions and urge them on. A little bit more luck, and it really, really starts to become real. So until the next edition of Achtung Mill, which will probably be after the West Brom game, April 1st. Until then, dear listeners, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.